The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Thursday, January 30th. And that's right. We have Stone Slade coming in to us all the way from France because today is, that's right, you guys, it is National Croissant Day.
Oh, yeah, baby. I've had 8.
You've had
so
8
far.
already. 8 croissants already,
right.
Stone.
8
Man.
croissants. I'm going for more.
In Old Paris.
Oh, gay Paris.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh man, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. Welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And it looks like we are still waiting on the dope dad himself to make an appearance. So it looks like we are going to start this thing off with Mr. Attorney at Law, Mr. Dale Schafer, you guys. Right. Yeah, we don't need none of that, Jenny. We don't need none of your extraness right now.
Right.
Just
have a croissant, Jenny.
Yeah, have a croissant, Jenny. Have a croissant. Yes. Dale has been an attorney since the Reagan administration. He has represented physicians, hospitals, insurance companies, cops, correction officers, and for the last 25 years, he has specialized in cannabis law. He served a 5-year federal prison sentence for helping medical marijuana patients, and he managed to even save his law license. He's blunt, doesn't smoke them. He's honest, tells the truth, unconcerned with public opinions and especially with yours, and will tell you and show you how to defy gravity by pissing up a rope. That's right. It's none other than your favorite Tio Loco, Mr. Dale Schafer, and you can now find him at the law office of Dale Schafer in his little private practice. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Dale Schafer.
Good morning, everybody, and morning to you over there in France and up in Minnesota and all around the country. A moment of silence, please, for the accident that happened over the Potomac. I'm a pilot myself, and I've flown around busy airports, and yes, that was foul for me. It's a tragedy. It's just a tragedy. My story today comes out of Marijuana Moment, and it involves Mike Pence, that bastion of conservatism. The headline is, Senate should reject RFK as Trump's health secretary for supporting marijuana and psychedelics reform, Mike Pence's PAC says.
And how did the government start today?
This one caught my attention because Mike Pence is one of those that irons his underwear. And he also represents a what I would call a branch of Protestant Christianity that has not always been in the mainstream. And the name of his PAC is Advancing American Freedom PAC, whatever that's supposed to mean. I mean, it's a catchphrase. I think it's, well, they just pull these names out of their asses. He's upset with RFK for his support for marijuana and psychedelics reform and for his personal failings. He thinks that by putting RFK in place, He's going to undermine the public order, increase nuisance, and massively increase the size of government. And I might point out in the story that Rick Perry disagrees because he's actually had some experience with psychedelics, veterans and PTSD and things like that. And he supports psychedelic reform. Now, if you haven't read the memo, Bobby Kennedy Jr. has been, he's been a lightning rod for a lot of things. There's no question he was an intravenous heroin addict for 14 years. Having gone to prison myself, I understand that it is possible to get beyond either convictions or substance abuse disorders. It shouldn't automatically cast you as some sort of an immoral person. And comments about vaccines, I don't know what to say. I was trained in the medical profession decades ago, and we have the population on the earth we have today because of vaccines. You can take that whatever way you want. And irrespective of what Pence did on January 6th, I have problems with Protestant Christianity rearing its ugly head and joining the historically racist positions taken with respect to drugs. Now, you've heard me rail before about the interjection of Christianity into moralizing and immoralizing the use of drugs and alcohol began at the end of the 1800s. There were, massive attacks against liquor, bars, saloons, things like that. And there was a figure involved in this. He was, his name was Brandt. He was the bishop of the Philippines. When he went to the Philippines, the Catholic Church had accommodated opium use in the Philippines without throwing everybody in jail. When he showed up, he said, "Oh, fuck no. We're going to demonize the use of drugs and everyone's going to jail." He was also massively involved in international conventions for drugs. And he was instrumental in the 1912 Harrison Anti-Narcotics Act. And my point in this is that it's not just people who are ideologically opposed to drugs. There is a massive religious movement involved here that's been around for well over a century, and every once in a while it will rear its head and make statements that I think need to be pushed back against. Using drugs is not a moral question. It was tried to turn into a moral question over the last century or so. People who use substances, whether it's alcohol, smoke weed, even the harder drugs, this is not an immoral thing to do. It may not be good for society, but to wrap it up in Christian terms, it sort of bothers me. And it seems to me that Mike Pence is pushing that sort of an agenda here against JFK. Now, if you saw what his cousin Carolyn had to say, that Pence is not alone in banging the table about how bad Bobby Kennedy is. I'm not sure I want to get into that because there is no good answer to how bad or good Bobby Kennedy might be based upon his past, the things he said. That's up to everybody to make their own opinions about. But it's not always right-wingers that you face off against when they're opposed to changes in drug laws. A lot of this has to do with people's ideological positions from a religious perspective, and I think it needs to be brought out and talked about because I don't believe modern Christianity is in support of demonizing people who drink or use substances. And I'd like to point that out and make sure it's a subject of discussion. And people who are in the belief system of Christianity, I'd like them to stand up and say, do you think that people who drink or use substances are sinners, are immoral? Because if that's your position, I'd like to know what it's based upon. If it's not your position, then let's take a look at being compassionate to people, because we live in a world where if you don't know about drugs and alcohol, I don't know what rock you've been living under. There are massive amounts of people in this country who have used and are currently using drugs and alcohol. It is something we need to address as a society. But when you roll out that flag of, oh, it's immoral, and we're going to have to fight this from a position of morality, I want to call people out on that because I don't see anything historically in any of our Abrahamic religions that says that the use of drugs of alcohol is immoral. So I want to call Mike Pence out on this. Go back to ironing your underwear, and maybe you should stay out of this because I don't know if you've ever had a drink in your life. I'm pretty sure you've never smoked weed in your life. If it wasn't prescribed for you, you didn't take it. And that's perfectly okay. But I have the same problem with this I had with Nancy Reagan saying, oh, just say no. If it was that simple, don't you think people would do it? It is so naive to come out and make statements like this that it verges on the absurd. So I'm going to throw this back at you, the commenters here and people on the thread. What do you think about this? I'd like to remove morality and Christianity from the arguments for or against Bobby Kennedy and drugs in general. Throw it back to you. What do you guys have to say about this?
Well, that's the precipice of modern Christianity, right? As we go to church on Sunday and talk shit about everybody for doing the same things that we were doing on Saturday night. So that's why I quit going to church regularly. So no, I think that when we're looking at morality and Christianity and how people speak, I think that that is why people tend to trend away from religion, especially organized religion, because it's not used as a relationship with God. It's now used as a way for me to judge you for things that I probably am also doing. So morality argument should probably be out the window.
Yeah. I hate to agree with Rick Perry on anything, but I agree with him here. I think there's plenty of things to go against.
Look at that.
Robert Kennedy on. This is not one of them. And, Mike Pence is funny to come and talk about how he's thinking it's going to cause more government when organized religion from the get-go has been all about controlling people. And so he's so full of shit, man. You go back to ironing your underwear.
Oh, boy.
What's wrong with a fresh pressed pair of skibbies?
Yeah, what's the matter with that, Stone?
It causes irritation marks on the shaft of your crank. That's what's wrong with it.
Yo!
On your shaft, huh?
Yeah. Makes a big irritation mark that a Band-Aid won't help.
Oh, man.
I just want to be able to get shaft of your crank from Dale's mouth out of my fucking memory at some point, because that is something
That's why I said it, Jenny.
Never needed to hear that. Oh boy.
Jenny's cranking the shaft.
I don't on the bathroom wall in the bar. Okay, there you go.
Oh, man. For a good time, call Dale Schafer at law.
There you go. I'll tell you straight up how I feel.
Oh, man. You know what? I enjoyed that confirmation hearing so much, mainly because of the antics and kabuki theater that was put on by a lot of these senators that are really bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical industry, mainly specifically Elizabeth Warren, where she was demanding Bobby to say that he would not sue vaccine manufacturers or the pharmaceutical industry in regards to bad products and whatnot, and he said that he absolutely would not leave that off the table. And so I want to thank him for standing up for the American people in that respect. And the other observation that I saw during this whole confirmation hearing is I have never watched a confirmation hearing where the crowd just erupted in cheers and clapping and cheering for Bobby at the end of this whole charade of a confirmation hearing. And so I have never heard that out of a confirmation hearing, anyone get cheers and applause like that afterwards. And so shout out to Bobby Kennedy and the whole Maha movement.
Well, I think it's demonstrative of the feeling of the average person in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Corporations are out of control,
Mm-hmm.
and that the government's in cahoots with them. Now, I worked in medicine. I was trained in medicine, and I represented physicians. I represented insurance companies. And if you don't think this is a fucked up mess, let me tell you, this is a fucked up mess.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with the 1974 act that Nixon signed for his friend Henry Kaiser, the Health Maintenance Act, medicine began to drastically change, became for profit. It was clear there's going to be a lot of people involved who were not physicians that knew what the fuck they were doing. They were just there pushing money around and making money. That's where we are right now. We've given so much protection to pharmaceutical companies.
Yep.
Government has given extensions of these patents on these drugs, and they now capture them, so you can't bring in generics anymore. It's just not worth it. And we are trapped in a system right now where it doesn't matter how much you pay. I go to see a doctor, and they think I'm just a tool. They're going to tell me what to do. When I ask questions back, they don't know what the fuck to do. And this kid Mangione, I mean, I'm not advocating you start shooting rich people. That's not a solution here. I'm not saying it won't happen again. But it's emblematic of how angry people are.
You're talking about
that
Luigi when you say that, right?
Luigi.
Okay.
We're just shoveling money into this system. What we're getting in healthcare is not done by doctors. It's done by ancillary people now, and you're just a number to them. And if you happen to fall into a certain category, you get great care. If you're not, if you're poor, if you're a black woman in the South, I mean, there are places where you're just treated like a piece of shit, and people are tired of it. And our health is so horrible because agriculture is bought into high fructose corn syrup and everything. We dump shit into our food because it's cheap for the manufacturers to do it. Okay, and nobody seems to care that all these rates of diseases have shot through the roof. So Kennedy has tapped into something that Stevie Wonder can see.
Yeah. And
we do not have control of our system. It's killing us. How do we stop this?
I like what you did there with that is something that even Stevie Wonder can see. That was a pretty good one, Dale. I like that. But one other thing that in regards with his whole, because I saw the video that his cousin put out, Caroline, right? And she was like just straight up attacking, trying to make it subtle, like, oh, I hate to do this, passive aggressiveness, whatnot, with the whole video, and really, you know what I'm saying, just masquerading against Bobby Kennedy's confirmation. But I'll tell you what, this is the lady that was the ambassador to Australia, and during the whole COVID thing, Australia was the one of the countries that was actually locking up people and putting them in camps that would not accept the vaccine.
Well, we haven't gotten over that entire debacle.
Yeah.
Because there was a major rift in this country between the power of the federal government to tell you what to do and the freedom people have to do what they want to do.
Yep.
And we never figured that out. And all the case law that I'm aware of about locking people down and locking them up when it comes to illness dates back a century. We have not seen any of this go through the court system about who has the power to tell you what to do. Now, I'm an advocate for vaccines. I don't have a problem telling people that. Even he said he's fine with vaccines. He doesn't have a problem with vaccines. I watched him make those statements during his testimony. Well, the problem is putting a gun to people's head and say you have to do it. That's where there's a major problem. And we have a constitution which limits the federal government's power. And no one really wants to talk about that line between what the government can force you to do and what rights you have as a human being. You know, there's one other big problem with the vaccines, Dale, is when you give these vaccine companies basically carte blanche immunity against anything that they're putting out there and putting into the general public. That is, I have a big problem personally with that. Well, and immunity is not just a problem for the healthcare industry. It's for social media. There's all kinds of things the government has given immunity to corporations for. I'm just not sure that should go on forever. I mean, short term, perhaps, but at some point that should go away. And if you have a product that's hurting people, our system of tort law says, hey, I should be able to seek redress and make you stop it or compensate me for my damages. We haven't talked about that. It's kind of put on the back burner. And we all came out of COVID, oh, everything's great now, we'll go on. Well, no, it's not. The economy took a major hit. Our kids are fucked up to this day from being locked up like that. It wasn't necessary. If you look at the statistics, kids were the ones that were the least likely to have problems from this. And we took a year away from their life, just ruined all sorts of things. We're not even having discussions now about what power doctors have to shut everything down. Because doctors I've been married to one for a long time. They're a bunch of pants pissers. If there's any possibility something might go wrong, they just want to shut everything down, lock everybody up. Let's stop everybody from talking and communicating. The answer is we're social people. And tell me I can't go talk to somebody or go outside. No, people just do not do that very well. And we are a very well-armed country. So be very careful telling people to do things they don't want to do and then force them to do that.
Yep.
You may not have the response you want to have.
That's right, because then you force people into being criminals. Rico, so nice of you to join us. Any thoughts on this whole Bobby Kennedy stuff?
Yeah, man. We had a water main break outside.
Oh boy.
Dude,
I mean, you live in LA, so I'm not surprised that they broke the water since Trump just signed the executive order to give LA water.
Oh my God, it's been a wild last 8 hours. So yeah, man. I don't know. This is just it's politics. It's politics, man. I am when it comes to Bobby Kennedy. I like some of his. I like a lot of what he says, but also he says a lot of wild shit. He's one of us.
Yeah. Hey, bro, I'm here for it. I'm all the way with it. Yeah.
He's one of us. I honestly do not know if he is like a hard lined on some of the vaccine stuff or not. I do know that there has been some negative repercussions to some of the stuff that he says, but that's on the people who took a stance or they took advice of somebody who's not a doctor. In my opinion, I don't think that he is any more. This is my personal opinion, hold the knives. But my personal opinion, I don't think he's any worse than anybody who's in office right now. And a lot of the shit that we have dealt with, especially, child obesity, school lunches, getting this poison out of our food. I can get down with a whole lot of that shit. And anybody who watched our show like over the last couple of years, man, you know that I always bring shit back to Alzheimer drugs, man. We have 5 Alzheimer's drugs on the market approved by the FDA right now. Not one of them has proven effective in any form or fashion. Right. So if he is going to cut some of the red tape to actually get us some stuff that has shown promise, like awesome. But the stonewalling and all that shit, like I can't get down with that. I think he's crazy, but no crazier than anybody else that's in office right now. So
all I'm gonna say, he needs to keep his hands off my goddamn Diet Coke.
Oh yeah, but I do think it is I think it's kind of strange though. Like, what's with dude's voice, man? Why don't he fucking fix that?
Easy there.
Oh no, I'm for real though.
That's a personal attack. He can't do anything about that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Come on, and you of all people trying to stop me from a personal attack. No, but I'm for real. Like, I've heard like multiple doctors say that it's a fixable thing. Like why don't he fix that shit?
I mean, look how long it took Too Short to fix his teeth. That's a fixable thing.
Hey, leave Short Dog the fuck out of this, bitch.
I'm just saying.
Blow the whistle on that shit. Come on, time
Lost
out.
his brother yesterday, didn't he? Too Short got his brother killed in Oakland.
Oh, man.
Dale
getting it.
God. And proof that Dale went to prison. There it is.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, man. I was the white dog, man. I was the white dog.
Yeah.
Didn't know what a wood was, so I went to prison. They said, "Oh, you're a white dude." Really?
We are very far from the story and where we started.
Rochelle, you want to bring us back to base, Rochelle? Your thoughts?
Yeah, this all got very convoluted. I mean, here's the deal. Like, all of these people that are being nominated are problematic in their own way, shape, and form. But if this guy could potentially move the needle on cannabis and psychedelics, like, so be it.
I like that. I'm not mad at that, Rochelle.
Thank you.
Not at all. Not at that at all. Well, we are going to roll right into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back, you guys. showers, all that.
I got my Equinox membership. I'll be over there.
Just so
you
you
know,
know.
working today.
Well, we're back, you guys. We are back.
We are back. Where are we at, Jason? I came in on Jenny Beth time today.
I know. We're on me. We're on me. And then we'll have you go after that.
All right, we have the man who should be in charge of HHS, the highest Republican in every single room, known for smoking the best weed in the world, and has an undying love for things that he calls the truth, but there are no facts surrounding them. Jason Beck, what do you have for us today, my man?
Oh, man. Good morning, you guys. Good morning. Well, I have something, man. I tell you what, my hemp friends are not going to like this because there's a Nebraska bill that's targeting retailers of synthetic marijuana products, you guys. That's right. Another effort to crack down on synthetic marijuana products is underway as Millard State Senator Kathleen Kauth, Kauth, is teaming up with Attorney General Mike Hilgers to target more than 300 stores in Nebraska, you guys. In a quote, they say, they've been on notice. They said, no one will catch us. We're just going to sell and sell and sell and make money. But that's what they bet they made. And they assume the risk, Hilgers said at Wednesday's hearing at the state capitol. Hilgers and Kauth announced a number of lawsuits last year. The new bill this year, LB 316, offers retailers an off-ramp to halt sales of synthetic products like Delta 8, hemp combined with chemicals that go unregulated by federal officials. In a quote, they say, these cannabinoids have been tied to significant health risks, Senator Kauth said on Wednesday. The CDC says synthetic cannabinoids are not one drug, but hundreds of chemicals combined that consumers often believe are safe and legal. Symptoms can include increased heart rate and anxiety. And then they say in a quote, if you do consume too much of any substance, it doesn't matter if it's Delta 8 or THC, there can be consequences that are not desirable, medical professional Andrea Holmes said. Retailers also testified for regulation during this, and in a quote, they say, what we want is to make responsible, regulated, and very well-tested products available to consumers, one man said. In an additional quote, plus a ban will take millions of dollars out of the coffers and destroy millions of dollars in economic activity, another man said. In conclusion, this bill will not help keep Nebraska safe, they say. State lawmakers say the latest attempt addresses the unintended consequences of a bill passed in 2018. LB 316 amends the 2018 Nebraska Hemp Farming Act. It clarifies legal production, possession, and consumption of cannabidiol products like Delta 8. It also, in quotes, harmonizes the act with the 2018 Agriculture's Improvement Act, better known as the Farm Bill, and clarifies the definition of marijuana. Committee members will decide if the bill moves forward in the legislative process, and the bill does not affect the medical marijuana initiative that was passed by Nebraska voters last November, you guys. Well, it seems like they're trying to go at it, maybe against Delta 8 and probably a few other things, but I find it's truly, truly amazing that these people are trying to say that these products are similar to spice and other crazy things that you can find all around, and they're not doing anything to dumb those things down, but I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Man, Parody Gummy about to have a bad day.
Parody Gummy is a Delta 9 product, so this doesn't affect it. It's not a D8 product, Jenny Beth. That was cute.
It's California, not Texas, Jenny Beth.
Yeah. Wow. This ain't Texas.
It's Nebraska. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's the land of corn.
Do we expect Nebraska to get anything right? Has Nebraska historically gotten anything right when we're talking about cannabis?
Well, they've
Don't worry.
I thought they got college football right.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right.
And it's well known that college football players love weed.
Yeah, that part is true.
Especially in Nebraska, right?
Especially in Nebraska. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially when all they got to do is just drive to neighboring Colorado or Oklahoma to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Well, there are those signs on the road that say this is not Colorado. They literally say that. This is not Colorado. And they literally put state patrol officers at the border to make sure that you don't do such.
They have done that in the past, but there was a ruling, and we covered that on High and 9 News, where that was ruled as entrapment.
It is entrapment, but hey, listen, if I'm going to go try to find a beer, I'm going to go to the bar and find it. You know why? Because I know there's beer at the bar.
You can't spell entrapment without trap.
Hey, fair enough. Shout out to the trap.
Hey, chances make champions. What can I say?
Oh, chances make champ. Look at this, you guys. What do you think
I
about
don't
this,
think
Rachelle?
anybody has a formula yet to figure out what to do with these hemp-derived cannabinoids, intoxicating cannabinoids, whatever term you want to apply to them. They don't quite know what to do because the mental midgets in Congress just talked about Delta 9. And as we all know, THCA is a loophole. I had clients who were cooking CBD to make Delta 9 and also to make Delta 8. And, they were just rocking and rolling because there really was nothing at the federal level that could stop them. And that's where the big guns come in. I mean, there's you could drive a truck through the loophole in the Farm Bill. Let's hope it gets fixed, because those people that are trying to do this by growing hemp or by growing cannabis and then making products from it and trying to derive product from that are constantly being smacked in the face by these alternative cannabinoids that are derived from hemp come on the market. And then the doctors are like, oh, they're pissing their pants. Oh, this is going to be a problem. It might give you anxiety. Yeah, well, it's not going to kill you. I mean, I don't know about spice. I think spice has some serious downsides. Cannabinoids are not going to kill you. So let's take the hysteria off the table and let's talk about realistically how we rein this in. I think they just green light the whole damn thing, let people get a license to go bankrupt if they can't run a business.
I totally agree with that. I'm totally in support.
Yeah,
of that,
let the market work.
Yeah, that's why I call it a free and open market, right? This would be like
It's
America.
not a free
Free and open market does not exist.
It's not a federally illegal substance, right? So it's not a free and open market. So
But these are not federally legal substances, Jenny Beth.
Hi.
Yes, please go ahead. Just want to correct the truth. That's all.
Yeah.
Truthiness.
We know you, purveyor of fucking truth and absolute fact. I know this. Okay. So listen. At the end of the fucking day, Jason, this is the problem, and this is why things need to be regulated equally, right? Because there are loopholes that need to fucking be closed, right? If you want to operate and you want to sell cannabinoids in any fucking form or fashion, it should all be regulated the fucking same way. We should all have entry into the market, but there should also be the same barriers for every single fucking operator so that we're, one, protecting consumer safety and they're the same kind of testing guidelines, but also because fuck you, Jason. If I spent fucking $50,000 setting up my dispensary, you can't come in with Parody Gummy and say I spent $15 and fuck you.
I mean, Parody Gummy doesn't even need a storefront because we can ship directly to your door.
Exactly. So you're skirting regulations.
That's not skirting regulations.
Wrong. Jason does what he wants.
That is not skirting regulations.
Are you exploiting a loophole or no?
No, I'm not exploiting a loophole either. I love it how you guys all want to call it a loophole, but it's really a legal framework for commerce.
It's a loophole.
Yeah.
It's not. That's fake news.
Loopholes and loopholes.
Against hemp, Jason?
Say that again.
Why were you initially against hemp until you found a loophole to exploit?
News.
This is totally ridiculous, Jenny Beth.
Fake news.
Oh yeah.
Jason, where's this?
It's fake. It's fake news. It's inconvenience, and now it's fake news. All right, moving on.
What are you saying, Stone and Rachelle?
Stone is biting his lips so he doesn't laugh. Is what Stone is fucking doing.
Stone is biting a croissant on because it's National Croissant Day and he's in Paris, France.
That's how.
What did you say? What were you going to say, Rachelle?
Just that I don't believe that the hemp thing is a loophole. It's an opportunity, right? Like it's taking advantage of the way the law was written.
Exactly.
It is what it is. And when it comes to this stuff, like you guys know, like I'm greedy, like I want my husband to make money with his hemp flower.
That's right.
I'm not personally in favor of chemically converted cannabinoids, but you can make D9 products in a naturally derived sort of way. So I do want to call that out personally. I don't fuck with HHC. I don't fuck with Delta 8, but this is America. And if people have an opportunity, they need to be able to take it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Smoking like a true capitalist out there.
Jump through that fucking loophole as long as you can, motherfucker.
It's not a loophole, and it's not a hula hoop either, Jenny Beth. No, it's not.
It is a loophole. It is an oversight in regulatory.
It is not an oversight. It was intentionally written that way.
You think it was intentionally written that way?
100%.
It's intentionally written that way. This is ignorant.
It's 100% written that way intentionally.
This is ignorant. It's not, and that's why we're discussing this as a story today.
No,
Because
we're discussing it because you have a different
there was
opinion.
oopsie. Well, you know why? Because I'm the only person sitting here who's like, I'm not making bread off this. So, you know, it's not about fucking right and wrong. It's about, yes, it was an oversight because the regulators who were writing these fucking laws didn't say, hey, you know what? They're going to fucking convert some shit and figure out, because they didn't know. And this is the problem with cannabis regulations being written by people who don't understand cannabis operations, right?
Yeah.
You end up with these fucking oversights, loopholes, that Jason Beck is going to, you know, triple Lundy through.
Triple Lundy. Cute,
Yeah.
cute. Yeah, with freshly pressed undies, right? That's cute. That's
Yeah,
cute.
for sure. Chafing the stock of your whatever the fuck deal said.
You're Craig. Chasing your Craig.
Like, listen, I understand that people are making money out of it. I totally fucking get it. I understand, like, from the whole, this is my business model, not being an asshole, right? But also understand that, you know, in 2016, when we were pulling THC out of the mother liquor in the hemp extraction facility where we were making fucking prana and those products, and then realized, oh shit, we did a conversion process and now have CBN, which all fucked a bunch of people because then they tested hot for cannabis because that reconverts back in your body, that people make money. And so people who are making money have a different opinion of it than people who are fucking like, hey, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into a cannabinoid based business. And now here I am getting circumvented by people who just put up a website.
Interesting. You know, Hawaii Sustainable says in the Farm Bill that the Farm Bill is very clear in its language. And that we should have Bob Hoban on there. And Bob Hoban, I've seen him quote this and saying that it is not a loophole in how the language is written in the Farm Bill. It's a clear, not a loophole. And so that's an attorney saying that. Jenny Beth, what do you have to say about that?
And the C word says, thanks, Jenny.
Well, C word says a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, I mean, it is what it is. And we can argue about it all the fuck we want, but it is what the fuck it is.
I wouldn't even call it argument, Jenny Beth. I call it a
Build a bridge
conversation
and get
or a
over
debate.
it, Jason. Build a bridge and triple Lundy over it, Jason.
I have built lots of bridges. I'm a constant bridge builder, constantly, every day.
Yeah, all right.
This side, that side, you know, all the sides, you know what I mean? North, south, east,
Let
west.
me just say this. I'm an attorney, and I'm telling you, I don't want to use the word loophole. There were oversights in how they wrap their hands around cannabinoids. Let's put it that way.
Interesting. Yeah. So that you're saying
and
they didn't use two hands. You're saying that.
I've helped people set up businesses, and they're spending high 6 to 7 figures to get into the regulated industry. And the trap is enough of a problem, but people making bank by just circumventing all the bullshit they had to go through to get a legal cannabinoid license in some state. It really does get under people's skin because you're trapped, and there's no rules and regulations that have to deal with these unnamed cannabinoids that slip through the THC definition. Try to be as neutral as I can be.
That was pretty neutral, Dale. Yes. I mean, but at the same time, don't. Go ahead, Jenny.
The Farm Bill is supposed to be updated every 5 years, and it is well overdue.
It doesn't need an update.
It's supposed to be, Jason, and that's how we set it up. Like, it's supposed to be continually fucking updated on a regularly scheduled programming. So, like, let's quit pretending, Jason, because I know you like to hang your hat on this and say, Trump legalized with the Farm Bill. Yeah, well, not intentionally.
I disagree with that.
Stop, I'm speaking, and then you can disagree after I'm done. This is another unintentional consequence. These are unintentional consequences of policy written by people who do not understand a certain sector. They don't understand what goes into the formulations. They don't understand cannabis operations. They don't understand the fact that we're all really just fucking drug dealers. So you give us an inch, we're taking a fucking country mile and we're going to hang you with it. So this is an exploitation of the fact that regulators made a fucking policy they didn't understand. And this is why you should maybe ask somebody who, you know, understands to help write these bills.
Cute.
Done.
Cute.
Real cute.
Her soapbox is retired. Well, you know, I don't agree with a lot of that. Some of that a little bit is right.
Said JB said he's running iOS 6.0. Damn, Jason, we're at like 17.
Some of us have places to be. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, we're keeping this running. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I'm going to go run a business after this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Rochelle's got
The adult in the room, Michelle.
All right. I'm not seeing Rico anymore. Is Rico, you with us?
Rico, come back. We miss you.
Rico's probably
He's
maybe.
I've got
yelling
a
at
hole
you
in a
somewhere, you know what I mean?
pipe out in front of his building.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably. You know what I'm saying? All right. Well, we're gonna roll right in to the Frenchman himself, Mr. Stone Slade. That's right. He is out there in the French land, out there, comme allez-vous-ing, you know what I'm saying? Sipping tea with his pinky up and espresso beans. That's right. That's right. It is none other than the man from the great state of Texas, city of Austin. None other than Mr. Stone Slade.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Ferris. Thank you, Rachelle, keeping the show moving. Again, I've been up since 7 o'clock yesterday morning, so let's get it going.
Mm-hmm.
Over here in France, I'm going to go talk about one of the neighbors. When you think of Germany, what comes to mind? Precision engineering, vibrant culture, and maybe the best beer on earth. But lately, Germany's booming cannabis market has been stealing the spotlight. Or depending on the outcome of the upcoming election, it could be the next casualty of the tug-of-war of cannabis reform. Let's start with the backdrop. In 2017, Germany made waves, loosening its medical cannabis regulations, taking cannabis off the narcotics list, and making it more accessible to patients in need. And boy, as the markets responded, medical cannabis prescriptions have soared 1,000% last year alone. According to the Blue Mill Group, high THC strains are flying off the shelves and prices are dropping faster than a Bavarian pretzel at Oktoberfest. But all progress has some politicians clutching their pearls, of course, as they do everywhere. The CDU-CSU coalition leading the polls in Germany approaches its February 23rd federal election, wants to roll back cannabis reforms. They claim the current system protects dealers and exposes children to addiction. A real party pooper move, if you ask me, but it all sounds way too familiar. And they're not exactly saying they'll put medical cannabis back on the narcotics list, but they're definitely hinting at reining in access. Critics argue that Germany's medical cannabis market has morphed into a kind of pseudo-recreational scene with online platforms like Dr. Anase making it too easy for people to score a prescription. They think online questionnaires, no in-person consultations, and questionable EU doctor approvals. Is this the Wild West of weed? Maybe, but it's also filling a gap left by Germany's sluggish cannabis cultivation, association licensing, which was supposed to pave the way for adult use cannabis. To date, only 90 cultivation licenses have been approved out of 442 applications. That bottleneck that has left the would-be adult use consumers with two choices: medical cannabis or the black market. And as with most cannabis legislation around the world, neither is what the original legislation intended. Meanwhile, Germany's cannabis industry has been a bright spotlight in an otherwise gloomy economic landscape, attracting foreign investment, creating jobs, and lowering costs for patients. The German Cannabis Business Association is urging lawmakers to focus on cannabis as a growth driver, not a scapegoat. Their message: don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But here's the kicker. If the CDU-CSU coalition dismantles the current cannabis framework, 70% of German cannabis companies would disappear within a year, according to industry leaders. That's not just bad for business, that's a seismic blow to progress. Still, even advocates admit there is room for improvement. Telemedicine, for example, needs tighter regulation to prevent misuse while still helping patients in rural areas. It's a blatant balancing act, but one worth pursuing to ensure the system works for everyone. And let's cross our fingers for the February election in Germany. If Germany holds a line on cannabis reform, it won't just be a win for Europe's largest economy. It'll be a victory for common sense. I'm Stone Slade for the High at 9 News.
Man, Jenny Beth, I mean, you're kind of a pretty big expert in all this whole Germany talk and whatnot. What do you have to say about this? Really? That's it? Just noises, huh? Sound effects?
Well, I'll tell you, the pitch decks are changing. I don't know. It's scary. It's interesting to see what's going on in Germany. I think that Germany, once again, I'll say, has had a very interesting take on things. Their medical proponents, whatever, lobbyists are very much Kevin Sabetish. So I think that the German market is a huge opportunity, and they're going to fuck it up if they don't get it straight really quickly. Because they have a moment to do this. You know, the clubs are allowed 500 members each, which is, already very, very limiting. But to pull anything back, I don't know. We'll see. I fucking have a call later and we'll talk about it tomorrow, but I'm not.
Oh, interesting.
And I think with a more conservative government coming in, we could be looking for some very shitty rollbacks. Hopefully the toothpaste is too far out the tube.
Well,
Hey, maybe Elon Musk can help them out with their sign language.
Well, at the same time, I mean,
Fuck up, Rico!
their stuff is pretty, I mean, pretty regulated in the sense of like how you have to have a pharmacy in order to be, in essence, be a dispensary and da da da.
That's not true, Jason.
That's not true?
No, they have a social club model. So there is a vertically integrated social club they can cultivate for the members of the club. The clubs are relegated to 500 members apiece, right? So no, Jason, that's not true.
Okay, all right. Look, I got a new wrinkle in my brain.
Look at Jason just like agreeing to a fucking fact and hearing something. I love it.
I find it
Here's the
interesting
facts.
that they're pointing fingers at the doctors. Okay, when they say, "All right, doctors need to give you a recommendation, approval, prescription, whatever," and you sit down with physicians, you go, "Okay, what's the dangers of this stuff?" And you go, "Well, you might eat too much chocolate, and you might go to sleep at night. They get a little anxious." You go, "Okay, well, what does it work for?" God damn near everything you want it to work for. You go, "Okay, so what do I need to do to give someone a recommendation? Do I need to do a blood test? Do I need to do, all this other stuff?" And the answer is no. It's not much different than someone saying, "Hey, I got a headache," and you tell them over the phone, "Take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning." This is the problem I had butting heads with the medical establishments here in California, is they wanted you to work people up like they had fucking cancer. Okay. And then you had to be so super careful and give them a recommendation for smoking weed. And they were smoking weed in the fucking parking lot before they walked into your door. And they're going back out and smoking again. But they want you to go through all these hoops to give them medical permission to smoke weed. It's ludicrous. This is not a drug that needs to be overseen by physicians. But they put them in that position, and when they say, "Go ahead and smoke pot," oh, it's the doctor's fault. No, it's not. This is a rather innocuous, it's the most medically active and safest medicine on the... Stop it. Quit pointing fingers at doctors and saying, "Go ahead and smoke weed. Just don't drive. And don't be fucking stupid." Other than that, go ahead and smoke your weed. So who cares? No one's ever died from it. Doesn't cause cancer.
And
no, I agree. And I think, listen, we have... Like, they'll put you on Wellbutrin and they're like, "Here, have a nice life. We'll see you in, 6 months." Like, you can't just put somebody on a super psychoactive fucking drug like that that's going to cause issues, right? But doctors, I think there needs to be a main line, right? So I do believe in some medical use. Like, right, so I'm treating a child with large amounts of seizures, right? There should be some kind of oversight where the doctor is actually involved in care and it's not just like, "Weed, bye." You're looking at what can be added in. You're looking at what cannabinoids, but that also comes hand in hand with doctors needing actual education around what different cannabinoids do, what actual interactions there are with drugs. Like, if this type of cancer maybe isn't the best for cannabis because it's not a one size fits all thing. And that's a lot of reasons why people will trend away from cannabis, because they're like, "Oh, well, I tried it. It didn't work." Well, you tried this. It didn't work. And it's a very trial and error. And I think having some doctor guidance, especially when you're dealing with true medical issues and true medicinal use, is important. Germany is not looking at true medicinal use in that case. We're looking at people like back in the old days of Colorado, where it was like, "I got my card because my back hurts from cheerleading in college," right? What did I want? Weed. It's different.
What do we need?
There's the difference between true medicinal use, and there are patients who are seizure patients, who are cancer patients, who are whatever, who might need a little guidance, who might need a little help. We're finding out that this treatment method isn't working for you. Let's try an oral, let's try a sublingual, let's try something different, right? So a little guidance there. But if we're gonna, in the same token, allow somebody to be like, "Here, oxycodone, bye," then it should be the same with cannabis, because you can die from that oxycodone. Tylenol's not harmful. Take the whole bottle. That's your last fucking headache, I promise you. So I think that they're reasonable situations for both, but if we're not going to hold these actual harmful drugs to the same standard, then I agree with Dale.
Interesting. Stone or Rachelle, do y'all have anything to say on this? Or otherwise, I'm going to keep this train rolling. Good. Keep it rolling. All right. I do have to mention we did get a super chat in from Brian Dombrowski, and shout out to everyone over. Yes, and shout out to everyone over there at the Aim High Hemp distribution team out there. He says, Jenny Beth, this is for you, Jenny Beth. He says, I got $20 on Jenny's new hemp brand, and I imagine he wants to see you hula hoop through that loophole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, wrong girl. I'm grown.
Oh man, on that we're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we're gonna be right back. I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi. We are back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know you'll appreciate it. We'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. Are you a business that's suffering from the hyperinflation that is plaguing America today? We have the solution for you. That's right. Patriot Business Financing. Head on over to www.patriotbfc.com and apply for a loan up to $2 million. Any state, any industry, even the cannabis industry, the CBD industry, as well as the industrial hemp fiber industry, secure up to $2 million today, and make sure that when you apply, you tell Paul you said hi from High at 9. Oh man, and we are back, you guys. That is not what you guys heard. We are back, you guys. And shout out to the C Word who just threw in a super chat also, who says, just some love and support for Martin Olive. Please consider donating to his GoFundMe. And I will try to find the link for that, and I'll put that link in the description if anybody wants to check it out.
You want me to send it to you?
Yeah, why don't you text it to me, Jenny Beth, and I'll put it in the description of this video. That would be a big help. And up next, it is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, and we're going to try to keep this moving because he has to get his water pipes replaced apparently today. That's right, it is the dope dad himself. His water broke. This is none other than the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
All right, y'all. As Jason said, we had a pipe burst in the building, and I got to get up out of here. DWP says they can hold off until 10 a.m. and they're going to cut all power. So I'm going to keep it fast, and I'm going to light the match and walk away because this one is a doozy. So let's talk about the Heritage Foundation, the powerful right-wing think tank vilified and accused by the Democrats of creating Donald Trump's blueprint for destroying American democracy as we know it through Project 2025, which Donald Trump repeatedly claimed to know absolutely nothing about. By the way, they have taken aim at one of 4547's most outspoken critics, originally from across the pond, Prince Harry. The Independent's Athena Stavro reported that the conservative group officially moved to reopen a lawsuit to make Prince Harry's U.S. visa records public, questioning whether he disclosed past drug use when moving to the U.S. in 2020, and hopefully to deport his ass back across the pond. The case was initially dismissed in 2023 due to a violation of Harry's privacy rights, but it's now set for a hearing on February 5th, next week in Washington, D.C., marking the first under Trump's second term. The lawsuit was sparked by Harry's admission in his memoir, Spare, that he used cocaine, marijuana, and psychedelic mushrooms, as any cool person that I know has as well. But Donald Trump and the Heritage Foundation claim that the Biden administration gave Harry special treatment, with Trump himself stating that he would not have protected the Duke. The tank's director, Niall Gardner, is now urging Trump to release Harry's immigration records, citing public interest. I'm sure that there is a whole lot more interest in the Epstein files, but we're not on that one today. First off, Prince Harry is 40 years old, an older millennial like myself, a royal too. So he should know better. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I'm from where I'm from, came up with who I came up with. But from my general observations, I was under the impression that self-snitching at a level of such magnitude was reserved for broke-ass Gen Zers without much to lose, because the boomers damn near took it all, and us millennials were left scraping the plate. No hate, but anybody on social media knows what the fuck I'm talking about. They need to stop talking. Snitching of all varieties is a problem for Gen Z, and they got to iron that out. But seriously, I thought that the age of lawfare came to an end once Trump won the election. It is disingenuous of any of us to claim any type of equivalency between the alleged outgoing Biden administration's witch hunts aimed at a former president who at times was sloppier doing his dirt in public than some of these youngins on the internet. And it sure seems that King Trump, who blatantly took aim at his ops last term, is back at it like a Craftmatic 4 years later with a lot more power and a whole lot less resistance. Now, I don't give a damn about Prince Harry or Meghan Markle. Put that on the record. In fact, I wish I knew less about them than 90% of these celebrities we talk about all the time. But as far as I know, it ain't like they're eating the dogs. It is high profile cases like this, win or lose, that'll surely take up millions of our tax dollars to execute the president's petty beefs. I'm sure that if they are successful in deporting Harry, it'll set precedent to do the same shit out of to any of our foreign friends, the people that we love that declined to admit past weed smoking or drug use before they came over to the U.S. too. I promise to every one of you all out there that I am really trying to give Donald Trump the grace that I believe that he has earned this term to fix a whole lot of shit that he could and would that the Democrats shat the bed on. That's facts. But focusing on shit like this right out the gate, it kind of makes you look like the dictator supervillain caricature that they claimed that you were and would be all along. Never thought I'd say this, but please leave Prince Harry the fuck alone. His past experimentation with drugs is no different than the vast majority of our pasts as Americans, and America elected you again to focus on the shit that would make us great again. This is not it. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. Go ahead, Jenny Beth. Hey, hopping at the bit.
Oh man, Jason, I feel like Anthony knocked it out the park getting Rico the blue background today, because very clear, even though he says he's not. But listen, we all knew. I'm going to take you back to a time where Paris Hilton was making sex tapes and Kim Kardashian was fucking Ray J. And Prince Harry was blowing fucking rails in Vegas on a pool table in a suite. We all knew Prince Harry did drugs. This is not a fucking surprise. This is not a fucking surprise at all. And I don't even know why this is fucking newsworthy. Like, dude, we knew.
Because our tax dollars are being spent on it. That's why I said why are we even
saying, like, we knew we shouldn't be spending tax dollars on this. We fucking knew. That's like saying, hey, I didn't know that Snoop Dogg smoked weed. And like,
so you agree with me, and you should have a blue background too. That's exactly what I said.
No. I'm saying, deal with it, do it. It is what it is. Like, who at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? But hey, I like your blue background.
That's so
we have planes running into helicopters. We have California on fire. There's so much other shit we should be focused on rather than them focusing on Prince Harry maybe lying on his past drug use on some shit that was dismissed 2 years ago. This is what I'm saying. Like, these are tax dollars.
Agree. And let's also acknowledge that helicopter had 2 Russian fucking citizens on it, and Russia issued a statement certainly after it happened. So maybe that military helicopter didn't run into that 64 passenger fucking American Airlines flight by chance.
See, this is what I'm saying. I said I'm trying to give Trump grace, but this is bullshit, and it will set precedent for people that we know that can get deported for some shit too. Like, why are we focusing on this? Is this why he was elected, to do shit like this? No. That's all I'm saying.
You hit it on the head. It's petty nonsense. It's fucking bullshit. Who cares? You know, fucking do something that makes a difference. This isn't it.
Right.
You know, this is something that I struggle with all the time at Green State, where it's like, Do we run a story about if so-and-so got high? Is it news if someone smokes weed? Yes or no? And in my opinion, the answer is no. But then
I feel you got to give the people what they want. That is 100% true. Give them what they want.
But lying on a citizenship document would
That's right.
be, and I'll ask Dale because he's the attorney here, would that not constitute immigration fraud? Because I think it would, right?
But I don't think it constitutes immigration fraud
Jason,
for him
I
because he's a
asked
royal.
the attorney, not
He's
the
a
Jason.
royal. So he's
I
immune
asked
from that.
the attorney, not the
Lying on a
Jason.
loan document, lying on a whatever document, it's fraud. So it's called a fraud.
But he's a royal. They have immunity.
How many people are going to speak before Dale?
Well, you just did.
I asked him.
Shut the fuck up. All right. There you go. All right. Now, lying on an official document is fraud. Okay. And where are we going to take this? Because as I recall, the first lady was not totally honest about how she got in the country. So where are we going to go with this? The hypocrisy runs all sorts of directions here. Maybe you should just shut the fuck up and focus on real problems. Rachelle, you're right. People who smoke weed, John Lennon tried to keep him out of the country because he smoked weed. Nobody gave a shit, okay? This is not a brand new problem. I mean, Hunter Biden, he was snorting coke. He got it shoved up his ass, which maybe he should have. I don't know.
It's free if you move it, Dale.
No, who cares anymore? I mean, let's go back. I smoked weed. I snorted coke, meth, took acid, all that kind of shit. So what? So what? Okay? It doesn't matter. Let's move on to something that's a real problem today.
Speaking of
Well, I
taking
think you
acid and
finally
moving
found
on.
a way for Trump to get Melania.
Hold on, Jenny. Hold on, Jenny. Speaking of acid and moving on, we are going to move on to our next commercial, and our final commercial, and we are going to be right back. Are you all ready for America's new #1 D9 gummy line? That's right, we are bringing to you Parody Gummy. These vegan gummies are manufactured in a safe harbor facility, so you know they're gonna be clean and safe, and they're not gonna give you any of the runaround. Coming in, we have 3 amazing flavors for you. We have the Raspberry Riots. Also, we have the Sleepy Joes if you need something to help you sleep at night. And if you're feeling like raging and having a party time, that's right, we have the Pineapple Bad Hombre. If you're feeling like a bad hombre, make sure you head over to www.parodygummy.com and secure your bag today. Oh man, and we are back, and we are going to keep this thing rolling. And we're talking about acid and all this fun stuff. We are rolling right into the trippy one herself, Miss Rachelle Gordon. She's the editor over there at Green State Magazine and loves to talk about hemp, build Legos, and all kinds of other fun drugs. That's right, it is none other than Rachelle Gordon.
Oh, on the same subject. Lately is taking it up a notch. We've had a couple of successes writing stories at Green State about celebrities and acid. You may remember the story that we shared about Diplo tripping on CNN's New Year's Live. We also had a great story about a certain yacht rock star writing his biggest hit on LSD. And here's another one for you, big surprise. Bill Gates admits he ate acid for one very specific reason. Here we go. It's no secret that psychedelics are popular in Silicon Valley. Apple visionary Steve Jobs was open about his penchant for LSD. Microdosing mushrooms is a common practice among the tech crowd, who tout the compound's ability to keep them creative and focused. Now, another famed computer whiz has revealed he's tried psychedelics as well, but not for the reason you may think. Bill Gates, the billionaire co-founder of Microsoft, reveals in his upcoming memoir Source Code that he, too, experimented with LSD in his youth. The clean-cut tech mogul said he tried acid with longtime friend and fellow Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen in an attempt to be hip. Everything I did, I'm blaming it on him and Jimi Hendrix, Gates said in a recent interview with People. Gates shared he dropped acid on senior skip day and ended up still high at the dentist's office the next day. In total, the philanthropist tripped 4 or 5 times. Recalling one particularly profound trip, Gates began comparing the human brain to that of a computer. Zeroing in on the ability to delete files, he wondered if he could make his brain delete all of its stored data as well, generating a ton of anxiety. His concerns over damaging his internal PCU led the Microsoft head to leave LSD behind. Gates also noted he does not endorse the drug because, quote, even though you think some of your thoughts are profound, in retrospect, they're not. Don't know if I agree with that. It turns out Gates also smoked weed a handful of times to try to look cool and potentially impress women. It didn't work out, Gates admitted, but I tried. Source code is set to release on February 4th. The book is the first in a trilogy Gates plans to release, beginning with tales of his youth in Seattle. Future texts will cover his groundbreaking work with Microsoft, his philanthropic efforts, and his relationship with Melinda Gates. Release dates are yet to be determined, but given the public interest in the businessman's journey and journeys, psychedelic-wise, the books are sure to be hits. What do you guys think about this? He didn't say that it made him smarter, more efficient. Thought it made him cool, and he failed. What do you guys think?
Rachelle, I'm just impressed that how you used the word that his books were going to be hits. That was a good pun right there.
Wink, wink.
Yes.
Wink, wink, wink.
He should print this book on blotter paper.
Yellow sunshine, right?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh,
maybe perforated paper too. That would be good.
Anyhow,
Yes.
Jason.
Yeah. How he convinced himself that taking acid is going to delete files in his brain. I don't understand that one.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not how it works.
You have to be
I think
on
he's probably got a touch of the tism. So let's be gentle with Bill, right? Like, and most brilliant people do. But I mean, I don't know. I fair enough.
He
Delete
does
files.
actually, and he talks about that being autistic in the book. What he was talking about was that he started thinking that, oh, well, you're able to completely delete all the files in a computer, and if the brain is just a computer, can I will myself to delete all of my memories?
It's not how
and then
it
he got
works.
scared. Well, but now remember, this was his imagining when he was tripping. We all had crazy thoughts when we're on acid or otherwise.
I haven't.
Right? So.
Never.
Stop it. Go ahead, Rachelle.
But so he thought, is this possible? Can I will myself to do this like I would a computer? But he got so scared, he decided to stop thinking about it. And the next day, made sure that he could still remember stuff. And then he thought, you know what? I'm safe now. I better just stop tripping.
This is the thing, as you said, Rachelle, that he did this to be cool, right? Like that was his main reason.
Exactly.
So then that means
I want to be cool.
Yeah, I want to know who was pressuring him or brought this idea up to him that this would make him cool, because obviously he was peer pressured into taking acid.
Yes. So that was from his co-founder, Paul Allen. He says that he was the one who egged him on to try all the drugs and alcohol.
Got it. Oh man, shout out to Paul Allen, the bad influence.
Do you think that Paul Allen was like, hey, Bill, dude, like, listen, you're super smart. You need to chill the fuck out.
You need to just drop this, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Did
Smoke
he,
weed to hop your bones. Come on, Bill. Smoke some
I
weed.
need him to figure out how to delete files from my brain, because I'd like to delete memories of several exes. So if
Yeah,
I could delete them and unmeet them,
you
and
can't do that.
that'd be great.
That's not how it works.
You sure?
Yeah, I promise.
You sure? What if I get really, really high?
No,
first?
you can forget things, but those memories are always in your brain, whether you want to choose to acknowledge them or not. It's just how the brain works. Rachelle, did he mention if it was paper acid or liquid acid that he took?
That I'm not sure about. You'll have to read the book and find out.
Wouldn't it be the same thing, Jason? Because doesn't the liquid have to be dropped on the blotter paper?
No, it's. I mean, I guess technically yes, it could be the same thing, but to me, it's different.
All that matters is you. We're here for you.
I appreciate that.
We're all here for you, buddy.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Very, very
good story, Rachelle. That was actually kind of cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was. It was
Thank
very,
you.
very, very trippy story. There.
Very trippy indeed.
Not to be confused with Turpy, but nonetheless, we are going to roll right
Only
into what's that?
Mildly terpy.
Mildly paper terps, basically, probably. I bet it was. I bet it was paper. I bet he took a paper hit. If
Whatever
I
you say, Jace Beck.
That's. You have any thoughts finally on this, Stone? Are you falling asleep on us? All your jet lag?
No, I think we covered all the thoughts there, Jason.
Okay.
He wants to go eat a crepe. Let's keep this pushing.
He doesn't want a crepe. He wants a croissant.
Almost over, bro. The day over here, it's what, almost 7 o'clock. I got to go eat some croissants. Rochelle's got places to be. Let's get out of here.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We got Jenny Beth coming up next. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis and of Justice Served, who helps justice impaired individuals get their life back on track. That's right. It is none other than the America's sweetheart herself, Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Yeah, all right. You don't believe that, don't you?
I know.
Okay. So Ohio, Jason.
Ohio. We love Ohio.
Because Ohio lawmakers are pushing for major changes to the state's voter-approved recreational marijuana law. Senate Bill 56, introduced by Republican Senator Steve Huffman, proposes raising the excise tax on adult use cannabis from 10 to 15%, with all revenue going to the state's general fund. Lawmakers argue the tax increase is necessary to cover what they call the societal costs of legalization. The bill also seeks to limit home growing, reducing the number of plants individuals can cultivate from 12 to 6. Other proposed changes include capping THC potency in products from 90 to 70%, restricting marijuana transport rules, and eliminating the social equity and jobs program designed to support those impacted by past prohibition. So fuck you on that as well. Additionally, the legislation would cap the number of dispensaries at 350, require all to sell both medical and recreational marijuana, which is actually kind of helpful. Colorado Springs, looking at you, and prohibit smoking or vaping outside of private residences. It also removes requirements for the state to establish rules for delivery and online ordering. Supporters of Ohio's current marijuana law warned that these changes could destabilize a market that only will sell you a tenth, that has already generated nearly $300 million in sales since voters legalized cannabis for adults 21 and older. David Bowling of the Ohio Cannabis Coalition says drastic revisions could create uncertainty for businesses, workers, and consumers. Because Ohio's marijuana law was passed as an initiated statute rather than a constitutional amendment, lawmakers have the power to make changes. While past efforts stalled due to Republican disagreements, the state's new GOP leadership appears ready to move forward with significant revisions. So this story is proof that Jason Beck is full of shit and does not know every Republican lawmaker in the country and does not have their ear, apparently.
I didn't say I did. The important ones.
Not yet. It's my turn still. This is bullshit. So once again, here are the perils of passing legislation based on, hey, we're going to generate a lot of tax revenue for you. Ohio, you guys still don't know how to sell an eighth, but you're trying to change and increase taxes already. Big boo. And Jason, go ahead and defend yourself and show us the picture of you with whoever the fuck this guy is.
I don't have a picture with this guy, and I don't deal with most state officials. I deal with federal officials.
Yeah, right. I mean? Yeah,
it's because I'm the highest Republican, Jenny Beth.
Get along, you know what I mean?
The highest Republican. Just remember that.
This is just mind-boggling. Once again, the Republicans piss and moan about how these Democrats pass over-regulation over taxes. When it turns out that something they don't like, guess what they do? Here we are.
Piss and moan?
Yeah. The only thing...
They piss up a rope
too? Taxes and make it regulatorily impossible to make a fucking dime.
The only thing that they need to be raising over there in Ohio when it comes to anything cannabis related is the weight per serving from a tenth to an eighth. That's the only thing that they should be raising in that market. Because there was a whole other article. There was a whole other article that came out today too that talked about how the compression of pricing in cannabis is starting to affect Ohio's market, and I think that it's actually more just Michigan eating Ohio's lunch again.
Oh man!
All I heard in that is the trap is about to win even more.
Oh,
Trap,
I heard that, Stone. Keep it trappy.
Always wins.
THC caps, etc.
Mhm.
There you go. Give the game back to the trap.
Yep.
The opinions on this show do not reflect what Stone actually does in the state of Texas. So,
Rachelle, I mean, you're not too far from Ohio. Have you ever been to any of these stores in Ohio to check them out?
No, not yet. I think I've maybe driven through Ohio one time, but I've never been there. I'm always curious about new markets. I always want to see their weed. So hopefully I can get out there soon and see what they're working with.
Yeah, it's 2.8 grams per serving is what they're working with out there.
Rachelle's like, I can pull
well,
over.
Jason, that's enough for like 7 of your little pinner joints you roll.
What are you saying, Stone?
No, I was like, Rachelle's like, I can pull over and get that 10th, or I can just keep driving, get an 8th.
You could, because if she was in Ohio, Michigan is right on your way back home, isn't it, Rachelle?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I just find it mind-boggling. They've got 350 dispensaries in the entire state, and LA had 1,400 before we went legal, and the trap was sort of in control. And now you put 350 in the entire state, and the trap's just going great. You know, I'll just slip around the corner. I'll sell you some Bammer weed from wherever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's fine. Now LA has 1,407, so there's that.
Oh boy. Well.
Yeah.
Well,
keep driving. There's weed at home, Rachelle, and it didn't come from Ohio, so.
Yeah, we got plenty of it. So
yeah, these rhino Republicans need to stop trying to overregulate on cannabis. I agree with that they're just pushing this too far. They need to stop the cap on all THC caps, because that's just ridiculous and doesn't come from any actual knowledge or actual real science base. You know what I'm saying? And all it does is inhibit the trap and just keeps that whole market pumping when they're trying to steer the market into the regulated market. So it's actually
Jason ain't gonna like this. Jason ain't gonna like this. And although I don't have my cufflinks on today, Jason, you have to stop this whole narrative of anyone who doesn't agree with us is a rhino and Republican in name only. What we need is a little bit of party accountability, because in a lot of ways we are behind the times, right? So maybe we stop just saying, maybe we stop calling everybody a fucking rhino just because the narrative fits, right? Maybe
the shoe fits.
Because honestly, Republican in name only might mean that they're a little more progressive, and these guys aren't. So I think what we're realizing is that we need to have limits on Senate positions. We need to have term limits for these 99 million-year-old motherfucking dinosaurs out here that still say that weed's bad because their mommy said it was. It's not a rhino issue, Jason. It's the fact that on both sides of the ball, Republican, Democrat, I don't care what you are, people need to change their way of thinking and move forward. And Jason, you actually cut out a lot of your validity when anyone who says something that is in contrast to what you say is now a rhino. No, we need to have
that's fine. You're entitled to be wrong. It's totally fine, Jenny Beth. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst and Aim High Hemp Distribution for helping us keep the lights on over here, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing today. Even you, Jenny Beth. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do all of this, and thank you to Cloud Media Partners Anthony working on some new set designs, so we appreciate you all working through this with us, and thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.
Jason.